It was a freezing November evening when Michael Thompson, a tired single father with worn-out shoes and only $37 left to make it through the week, noticed a broken-down car on the side of a deserted road. He could have kept driving. He had every reason to mind his business, after all, nobody ever stopped to help him. But something inside him wouldn't allow it. He pulled over, walked toward the woman shivering in the dark, and offered help, not knowing she was the one who would soon decide the future of his family. What happened next would change both their lives, and prove that sometimes, the smallest act of kindness can rewrite destiny. Before we dive into this powerful story, make sure to subscribe to your channel name for more heart-touching stories like this one. Don't forget to like the video if it moves you, and share your thoughts in the comments. We love hearing your stories of kindness and resilience. Michael Thompson was just 34 years old, but life had aged him far more. Ever since his wife passed away from cancer 3 years earlier, he'd been raising their 6-year-old daughter, Lily, alone. He worked 2 part-time jobs, one at a local grocery store unloading trucks during the early morning shift, and another as a handyman in the afternoons. Even with all that work, money was tight. They lived in a small rented apartment, where some nights the heater barely worked, and more than once he skipped dinner to make sure Lily could eat. But Michael never complained. He laughed with his daughter, tucked her into bed every night, and promised her things would get better. He believed one thing with all his heart: kindness mattered, even when life was unfair. That belief kept him going. Earlier that day, he'd received a letter from the county court, a notice informing him that he was 3 months behind on rent. His landlord had filed to evict them, and his case was scheduled for hearing in just a few days. Michael felt sick reading it. If they lost that apartment, he had nowhere else to go. Shelters were full, and Lily deserved better than that. But as hard as it was, he hid the worry from her. When she asked why he looked sad, he smiled and said, "Just tired, kiddo." That evening, after his shift at the grocery store, Michael was driving his old pickup truck home. The wind was harsh, whipping across the quiet road. It was nearly 9 p.m. He was exhausted and still had to pack Lily's lunch for school and prepare for his handyman appointment the next morning. He just wanted to get home. Then he saw the car. It was pulled onto the shoulder, hazard lights flickering weakly. A woman stood beside it, wrapped in a long coat, clearly cold and frustrated. There were no houses nearby for miles, and the nearest gas station was over 10 miles away. Michael hesitated, helping meant time, energy, and gas money he didn't have. But his heart wouldn't let him pass by someone in need. He slowed down and stopped in front of her car. Rolling down the window, he said, "Evening, ma'am. You all right?" She let out a breath of relief. "My tire's completely flat, and I'm not sure how to change it. My phone died. I've been out here almost an hour." Michael nodded. "I can help you with that." He stepped out, his breath visible in the cold night. "I really appreciate it," she said, eyes weary. "I'm supposed to be somewhere early tomorrow morning. Very important." Michael didn't ask what. He grabbed his jack and spare tools and got to work. The ground was icy, his hands numb, but he kept going. The woman watched, curious. She noticed how worn his coat looked, how tired he seemed. "Do you do this for a living?" she asked softly. He shook his head. "No, ma'am. Just handyman work when I can get it. Gotta keep food on the table for my little girl." "A single parent?" she asked. He nodded again. "Just me and Lily." As he worked, they spoke a little more. Michael never complained, even when his knuckles scraped against the cold metal and his hands bled. He only said, "Hard times happen. You just gotta keep going. Someone helped me once when I needed it, so I try to pass it on when I can." The woman was quiet for a moment, her eyes thoughtful. When he finished, Michael packed up his tools and said, "There you go. Should be safe to drive now." She reached into her bag. "Let me at least pay you for your time." "No need," he interrupted gently. "Just glad you're safe. Drive carefully. Roads are slick." She looked at him like she wanted to say more, but instead said, "Thank you." "Truly." He drove away without knowing her name. Michael got home past 10 p.m., kissed his sleeping daughter on the forehead, and collapsed onto the couch. The next few days were a blur, spent trying to gather enough money to make a partial payment to avoid eviction. But it wasn't enough. The day of the hearing arrived. Michael put on his best clothes, which were still faded and worn, made sure Lily was dropped off at school, and headed to the courthouse with a pit in his stomach. He expected the judge to barely glance at him. He expected the law to do what it always did, take from those who had the least. But when the judge entered the courtroom, Michael froze. It was her. The same woman he'd helped on that cold roadside. She looked at him, and he saw the flicker of recognition. Her nameplate read Judge Eleanor Harris. Her expression was unreadable as the proceedings began. Michael never felt smaller in his life. He was terrified she would think he helped her just to earn favor. He wished he could disappear. The landlord's attorney presented his case bluntly. Mr. Thompson is delinquent on rent by 3 months. The landlord is within his rights to proceed with eviction. Judge Harris turned to Michael. Mr. Thompson, do you have anything to say? Michael stood, hands shaking. Your Honor, he said softly, I don't have much. I'm trying my best. I work 2 jobs, and I'm raising my daughter alone. My wife passed away. I know I'm behind. I just need a little more time. I don't want pity, I'll pay what I owe. I just need a chance, for my daughter's sake. Silence filled the courtroom. Judge Harris looked at him for a long moment. Then she leaned forward. Mr. Thompson, she said, her voice calm but firm, you helped me several nights ago. You didn't know who I was. You expected nothing in return. You showed kindness when you had every reason to walk away. Michael's eyes widened. The attorney shifted uncomfortably. She continued, I believe people like you deserve support, not punishment. She turned to the clerk. I hereby grant Mr. Thompson a 90-day extension to settle all past due payments. Additionally, I am recommending his case be reviewed under housing assistance programs so that no further eviction actions can be taken while he remains compliant. The courtroom murmured in surprise. Michael's eyes filled with tears. Your Honor. I thank you. Judge Harris offered a small, warm smile. We never know how far a simple act of kindness will go, Mr. Thompson. You reminded me of that. As he left the courtroom, the landlord approached him. I didn't know your situation. I'll work with you on a payment plan, he said gruffly. You're a good man. Outside, Michael looked up at the sky, tears streaming. For the first time in a long time, he felt hope. Days later, he received another letter, not a notice, but an invitation. Judge Harris had connected him with a local nonprofit that helped with rent support and offered training programs. Soon, he got a better-paying full-time job with benefits. Life slowly improved. Lily had her first real Christmas tree that year. The heater always worked. And Michael never once forgot how that night changed everything. As for Judge Harris, she later told colleagues that encounter reminded her why she entered law in the first place, not to judge people solely by their hardships, but to understand them. To give second chances. Months later, she stopped by the hardware store where Michael worked, just to say hello. Lily, now 7, ran up to Michael and hugged him. Judge Harris smiled. She's beautiful, she said. She's my reason for everything, Michael replied. Judge Harris nodded. Keep spreading kindness, Mr. Thompson. The world needs more of it. Michael smiled. I will, ma'am. Always. This story reminds us that kindness costs nothing, but its impact can be greater than we ever imagine. Michael had little to give, but he still chose to help. That single decision transformed his life. In a world that often feels busy and overwhelming, moments like this remind us that every act of compassion matters. You never know what someone is going through. You never know who you're helping. And sometimes, the kindness you offer comes back to you in unexpected and life-changing ways. So next time you see someone in need, don't look away. Be the reason someone believes there is good left in this world. If this story touched your heart, Please subscribe to your channel name, like the video, and